Now, a new case of Ebola was confirmed pretty much in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the city of Goma, and once again the border districts of Uganda are on high alert. That's the conversation that we'll be having today, this morning. And so we take a look at how safe Ugandans are pretty much with these porous borders. Now it's, a conversation that we need to be deliberate about. We've been seeing in the companies, I don't know if this is happening in your company, with hand sanitizers and stuff like that. So we are all on high alert, and just for us to stay on the safe side. And so this morning we're joined by two amazing guests. David, kindly do me the honors of introducing them.
Well, seated right next to me is Gillian Nantume Mama Jr., a senior reporter at NTV, joining us. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. And Mr. Ainebiona Emmanuel, who is the Senior PRO Ministry of Health. He's also a former journalist with Monitor Publications.
Thank you, David.
See, I thought he was going to deny.
I'm always happy to be back home.
Okay, good stuff. So, Ugandans are always worried when outbreaks like this come up. We have unfortunately had one this year that really worried very many people. There were even a few rumors of it in Kampala. I'm going to start with you, that covers these stories. First is, how when you hear of an outbreak like the one we had recently, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Because, these are borders, these are people crossing from, because this incident came from someone that crossed from Congo, crossed over to this side, and fortunately he was caught up first. But what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
The first thing that comes to my mind is, are we ready as a country to tackle such an issue? Because when we heard about the outbreak in Kasese, government really came up really strong. They put up an isolation center. Money was allocated to sensitize people and fight the disease, and that was good. But in Arua, where I just came from recently, the story is a bit different. Okay, in the town you'll find there hand sanitizers, yes. There are jerrycans at every government office which have jik in them so people can wash their hands. But the border is a completely different matter. It is open, anyone can go in and come as they please.
Right.
No checking. Yes, there's a jerrycan, but very few people go to it to wash hands.
So the sensitization is we still have gaps with regards to that. And you did an amazing feature with regards to the same, and I think we'll only do you justice if we play this so we can give some context to this conversation. Let's take a watch.
In June this year, the Ministry of Health confirmed a case of Ebola virus in Kasese district. Subsequently, the confirmed case, a 5-year-old boy and 2 of his family members, passed away. 2 weeks ago, the death of another confirmed case of Ebola in Ariwala in the Democratic Republic of Congo caused panic in Arua district. In swift response to the death, the district has vaccinated over 1,000 frontline health workers. It has also set up an Ebola isolation unit.
We are at the border, front line. If we are not ready, then the whole of Uganda is finished.
The unit has so far received 2 suspected Ebola cases, but tests done at the Uganda Virus Research Institute in Entebbe confirm that both cases are negative.
They are now being investigated for other illnesses, and they've been discharged from here to Arua Regional Referral Hospital.
The isolation unit, however, has challenges that may prove deadly in case of an outbreak. There is no operational cash, and electricity supply is not stable.
They are self-contained, but for managing Ebola, you also need other structures outside for people who are recuperating. We don't have a mortuary, so there's a store here which that we've identified as a mortuary to keep this body.
The management of toxic waste is also wanting, yet the isolation unit sits in a trading center.
We have an incinerator. It doesn't fit the standards of highly infectious diseases. A new one is being constructed.
The 4 border posts between Arua district and the DRC are porous. Every day, people move from one side to the other. When NTV visited Odramachaku border post on a market day, the only preventive measure seen was a jerrycan of treated water. The time we spent there, only one person washed their hands from that jerrycan. Many of the traders are from the DRC. This state of affairs is worrying the residents of the border town.
In Congo, they are not happy. In fact, they have a belief that if the breakout was in Uganda, the Ugandan authority would have intervened far much faster than their government.
There are high risk of Congolese enter here because you can see our border is just, there's no security actually, let me say like that. It's just a free entry and exit like that.
Recently, Ministry of Health officials and other partner organizations visited the border town.
We emphasize community mobilization and sensitization.
Just yesterday, there was a football match between the under-17 team of Onduparaka FC and Kolokolo FC. The game was played in Aleliku Stadium, just across the border in DRC. Many football fans crossed the border to watch the game, which begs the question, are we being as quick as we should be in handling this potential threat?
Right now I am standing in no man's land. This road separates Uganda and Congo, and the petrol station behind me is in Congo. District authorities say there is no Ebola in Arua, but with these porous borders, much more vigilance is needed. Gillian Nantume in Ondromachaku at the border between Uganda and DRC.
Wow. Gillian, let me just, head on straight to you. Clearly, there's no demarcation between Uganda and DRC, and you went there, and people are just easily crossing over from one point to the other. Just the other day, Onduparaka did have a match. Are we saying that we're losing the battle in terms of sensitizing our people on the high risk that exists?
I think we have lost that battle, because if people are sensitized, they would know that this is a danger zone. We shouldn't go there because we can bring back anything. But the fact that the borders are open, it's market day, most of the traders are just walking in and out with their goods, and then going for the football match. I think we need to do so much in terms of sensitization.
And Nabiona, it's good to hear people with the comment that one of the gentlemen in that video really is saying that they trust, they have more confidence in the Ugandan health system to combat any outbreak than in Congo. But of course, we'll give that plus to you. But
thank you.
You saw what happened in the market. There is only one jerrycan, and only one person washed their hands in the time that Gillian and the team were there. Are we doing enough to sensitize the people? Do people really know and understand the dangers of Ebola or any other outbreak that we are having? Are you guys doing enough to sensitize the people in the
Thank you very much, David. I personally traveled with the minister and the World Health Organization country representative on the 4th of July, and I've been to Odra Machaku, Oli, and also we had the meeting with the district health team in Arua and other districts in West Nile. Arua has not really been among the very high risk districts, only until when that lady who died in Aliwara on the Congo side, which is about 8 kilometers from the Congo-Uganda border. So that immediately raised the status of Arua to very high risk, almost to the same level with Kasese district, which has their outbreak. So this involved us moving our rapid response teams, also ensuring that the district is ready. Currently risk communication is ongoing, and even when we were at Odra Machaku, we had a conversation with a mixture of Congolese and Ugandans, and they had, what we got back is that people had a level of awareness that there is a disease, because they were clearly saying, we asked them, do you know about Ebola? Then they said yes. Where is Ebola? Then everyone was saying Aliwara. So that showed that they had awareness about the existence of the disease in DRC. But now what we are emphasizing more is community engagement to ensure that people are able to ensure hand washing, avoiding body contact, and we cannot restrict movement of people even in emergencies. only we have to ensure that they are sensitized, and also they are able to identify a person who is sick, and that's what we are doing.
What is standing between us and us getting that at 100% sensitization? Is it the funding issue? Because just the other day, I think last month, we saw the minister go to Parliament and say we were requesting for 28 billion to contain Ebola so that we don't have a crisis like DRC Congo. DRC Congo has already surpassed the 1,500, pretty much death toll mark, so to speak. So are we saying that the only thing that stands between us and us getting sensitization at 100% is funding, perhaps?
Not funding per se, but it could be a factor. Because if you look at the outbreak in the DRC, the outbreak was first announced on the 1st of August last year.
Correct.
And since then, Uganda, for about 10 months, we never registered any single case. That was the high level of awareness and public information that we give to the people. We have just launched a 64 billion response and preparedness plan, which we are mobilizing resources, and the partners have committed to give us these funds, and also government internally will do contribute, because in the 10 months of preparedness, government contributed about $3 million. That means government is also contributing. So we are putting our hands together, working with our donors and partners, and we think we shall maintain the kind of awareness and communication, because for now 32 days, ever since the death of the last confirmed case, we have not registered any other positive case, and that is an effort by both our health workers and also the population.
So what you're saying is that you wouldn't fault government for not releasing these funds maybe soon enough, for not supporting it 100%. What you're saying is that actually you'd applaud government for what they've done so far.
The efforts we have made to ensure that we are at least safe, we have interrupted transmission, because after an outbreak is declared, we have to monitor contacts for about 21 days. We are now today 32 days. So we managed to interrupt transmission. Apart from the family members of the people who crossed into Uganda, no other person tested positive. So that shows the level of commitment by government and partners. So government can, through our Ministry of Finance and Parliament, they can make available the money needed. But we cannot say that they are not doing enough, because already we have some money that we are able to do much, and the situation in Uganda is totally different from what is in the neighboring country.
Gillian, Nabiona here is a civil servant, so some of the answers he's going to give us here are typical civil servant questions. But you have been on ground on both situations, as well as he has. What's your view? Do you think as a country we can get to 100%? We are not doing bad. We're actually doing a very, very good job. But as you have seen in the cases of Arua, where I would say there has been some bit of luck, because if luck wasn't there for us, then we could really have a really bad situation in Arua.
Yes, I don't know so much about government doing so well, since this man is just going to be released. Because from the footage, you see that the isolation center has only 12 beds. Now, Arua district has over 1 million people. Now, this small center has 12 beds, and as the district health officer was explaining, there are so many gaps. The center is running on rechargeable torches. When it comes to Ebola, you cannot risk working in the dark. There is no running water. There is no operational cash. In case there is a case somewhere and you have to send an ambulance and there is no fuel, there is no operational cash, there is even no ambulance. There is no mortuary in case there's a highly toxic body. There's nowhere to keep it until the burial team comes and takes it. So I think I would like Emma to explain to us how this money is going to be distributed and how fast.
Right, right. Emma, I think you can take that directly before we...
Yes, we know the reason why we rushed to Arua on the 4th of July was to assess the level of preparedness in any unfortunate event that any case is imported into our borders. And we discussed with the district officials and also others from the West Nile districts, and the minister tasked these officials to come up with the response plans. And right now the response plans have been incorporated in the district response plans have been incorporated in the main response plan, which we had a briefing last week about, which is about 64 billion Uganda shillings, that is covering a period of 3 months up to September. So this money is being processed, so they will be with what to use, because previously they were not high among the high risk districts. We've been made in Kasese, in Toroko, in Ibundibujo, in Hoima, in Kabarole. That's where the risk has been high. So we also, because the funds will never be enough, you'll never get more enough funds, so we had to prioritize the areas that were at high risk. So now we are moving to Arua, and the teams are already there, because we already vaccinating health workers. The teams, the surveillance teams and epidemiologists are already doing risk communication. So in a few days, the situation which Gillian found will be very different, and I really applaud your efforts to go to the border, because it's there is no border apart from the other parts like Kasese, where you find there's at least a river, there's at least a mountain or a hill. This is typically just a road, so there is no border. So it is up to the Ugandans, mostly the residents of West Nile, to know that there is a threat
on this other side,
on the other side of the border. And the minister coined it very well. Death is at the doorsteps. So we have to be vigilant and be calm. But what I have confidence is that our system, emergency operation system to disease outbreaks, is enhanced and ready to keep Ugandans safe.
How enhanced is it? Because we were having this debate earlier on, and I think now it's in the public domain, and people are asking, if we didn't have external funders, if we didn't have these private entities coming to hold our hands and support us financially, would we be doomed? Would we be talking about a disaster?
Public health emergencies like Ebola are very expensive to contain. And that's why we have to get together with our partners and pull together resources.
How strong are our disaster management and preparedness mechanisms in the country?
Yes, by the fact that we are able to detect any alert. We've had over 7,000 alerts, and they are tested and they are negative. That shows that our systems, our surveillance, our laboratory, our case management is able to respond at any one time. We even get false confirmations even by the media, but we've managed to investigate each and every alert that we get in any part of the country, and that's why we still remain a different story and also a case study as how to manage diseases like viral hemorrhagic fevers. Our teams, our health workers worked in West Africa when there was the biggest Ebola outbreak, and now there is also even discussion to have an MOU signed with the DRC government such that our teams can go and intervene. Yes.
Gillian, you have been on ground, you have covered these stories, you have dealt with the local people. Do you feel that they understand how heavy these outbreaks could get? Because if you have a jerry can in a market where clearly a big number of traders are coming in from Congo, where Ebola is quite well known, Inabiona tells us people are aware. But you on the ground, do you feel that people really understand, are aware and know the dangers and how big this could get? They're not washing their hands, for starters.
The feel I had when I went to that place is that people are aware. they know there is Ebola and they talk about it. But for some reason, the safety measures are not being followed. So yes, they are aware. Some of them are even asking for vaccination, which I think the ministry says they would only vaccinate the frontline workers. They are aware, but for some reason, more sensitization is needed to direct them to wash their hands.
And that will be a concerted effort and support with the media. So the media can get where we can't get. And we appreciate that we are having this conversation at this time. Because if our media, I was at the Daily Monitor the other day, and the level of awareness, the computer screens had information on Ebola, sanitizers were available, but I don't know whether even the people were continuously sanitizing. So it is that continuous information that impacts on behavior change. Behavior change has to be continuous. So in Arua, in West Nile, they have been safe, but now they are no longer safe. They are at high risk. So the messages are going to be continuous to impact on behavior change, such that we see people take up these measures. I would request Gillian to also visit the district of Kasese, mostly around the Mpondwe border, to see the level of awareness and also compare to Arua, or even visit the Entebbe airport.
Well, you know,
Yes.
you chose to take, on a vaccination drive, but you're only vaccinating the frontline workers, beg your pardon. What informed that? Is it a funding issue as well, especially now that you know that this is a high-risk area?
The vaccine is still undergoing trial. It is in the last stages of trial, so it has not been recommended for general public use, and but it has proved to be over 90% effective. Right now we are using it as a compassionate measure, or for study purposes, for research, and we even had to use it before we had any confirmed case, because right now it's being used in what they call ring vaccination. Ring vaccination is when you have a confirmed case, then you have to vaccinate all the people, the contacts around the confirmed case. And that's what we are doing even for our frontline workers and healthcare workers who are at the immediate contact with anyone who might present with symptoms and today about 8,000 frontline health workers and also these healthcare workers have been vaccinated, including contacts to this case that was registered last month in Kasese.
So are we saying that after this vaccine is pretty much proven to be at 100%, are we saying that now we'll stretch it to the public?
That now will bring in the issue of funding, because these vaccines are very expensive, and now we are being given by the pharmaceuticals that manufacture them for free. The only costs we are incurring are the costs to administer, facilitate people who are doing the vaccines, but we are receiving these vaccines through World Health Organization free of charge. But to take on a countrywide vaccination, that will need a further discussion and has to come after the vaccine has been recommended for general public use.
Maybe something I'd like to add, Mala, is that we visited only one border post, and there are about 4 of them in Arua, and the situation is the same. So the whole of West Nile, I don't know what strategy the ministry has, because we also border in South Sudan, and there was something about a suspected case in Moyo district. Maybe you can enlighten us on that, and what measures you're taking in the whole of West Nile.
All the suspected cases have so far tested negative, so there should not be any cause for alarm. What we are doing as a Ministry of Health, we are doing very much collaboration with our counterpart on the Congo side, because they are able to give us information about any of the people who might have run away from the treatment centers. Even this family of 6 where a 5-year boy was tested positive. We had already received prior information. So there is a high level of collaboration, but we are going to emphasize community engagement to do risk communication, such that people get to do the preventive measures. Because on the Arua border, there is no border. It's just a road.
Right.
People move from the other side, spend a day in Uganda, in the evening they go home. So
there are kids from the other side that play football,
that play football in Uganda. So it is up to the level of awareness and also ensuring that they implement and embrace the preventive measures.
On that same note of borders, because it's not something that you, Ministry of Health, will take on. Have you maybe talked to the people in charge because this can't be a continued case of the borders are porous, we can't
there's not a case of porous. There is no border.
There is no border
unless you're going to build like a wall.
Yes.
But for now we can appreciate the way the geographical setup
is set up,
and also emphasize the other measures apart from these having screening centers, because even at the border there was a screening point at Oduamachaku, but we passed behind the screening unit. So it is up to ensuring that there is continuous risk communication, that the level of awareness, as you said, should get to 100%, such that at any one time any citizen is able to know, I am near the Congo border. I should observe I should observe continuous hand washing, I should avoid body contact. They should be able to identify someone with symptoms like raised temperature, headaches, muscle pains, presenting with bleeding, and should be able to report these matters to the nearest health facility. We are going to ensure that they are isolation units, or what we call Ebola treatment units, in the district or in the region of West Nile, such that at any one time the health workers are also protected. So protective gears are already being delivered to ensure that everyone, including the health workers, are safe.
Ms. Gillian did mention something quite critical, that there's still a lot of movement even within Uganda, South Sudan. So question would be, are we having any collaborative efforts as much as we're having with DRC? Are we having any with South Sudan?
Yes, we are having, and we hope and pray the disease or the Ebola virus is not imported into South Sudan, because the system there is not as strong as even the two countries. So regionally we are collaborating, and also we remain on a high alert, collaborating with the Ministry of Health in South Sudan, the Ministry of Health in DRC, to ensure that there is information.
Okay. Thank you very much. The Senior PRO, Ministry of Health, Mr. Ainebiona Emmanuel, thank you for sparing some time to be with us this morning. It's always nice to have you.
Thank you for having you
again. And Gideon Nantume, Mama Junior, Senior Reporter for NTV. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. And thank you very much for covering those stories as well. It puts a lot of light for the people in Kampala. As far as people in Kampala, we hear those stories here.
Yeah, we would be glad to move with her whenever we are going back, because when the minister announced an outbreak, the next day I was in Kasese. I was at Bwera Hospital. So we would like to have journalists also join, but they will need to also be maybe vaccinated.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's it for our Take Note conversation. If you have any comments that you would love to share with us, the hashtag is morning@NTV across all social media platforms. In a few minutes we're going to be back, and we're going to be getting into our business updates. Malai is already set for that. Morning@NTV continues right after this.